Greetings, in the name of the Most High. Yes, well, ha 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 ha. I told you I wouldn't wear this top hat again until there was something to celebrate. So, yes, I would say that was pretty unbelievable what I saw yesterday. And I want to give it, a cautionary analysis because we still have bad actors that, would seek to screw it all up before this guy before Trump, the amazing, magnificent Trump, ever gets seated. That was a performance by an iconic individual, a hero, really, I guess, as we define hero, that I've only seen in the movies. I've never seen anything in real life like that, like a person getting, indicted and then assassination attempts and being called Nazi and having pretty much the entire press corps against him and then surging back for a third victory. And I say third because I believe that he easily won 2020. I mean, same margin as what we just saw. The difference is he brought on some people to police and lawyers to police everything so that when they tried to have fraudulent ballots, they caught a lot of them. They didn't catch them all. Had they not cheated, though, you would have seen a sweep unlike we have ever seen in the world. Probably the greatest sweep the world has ever seen. Because certainly Trump is the most a force of nature. Now, I see people out there saying things like, these people are selected. They're always Rh negative Masons, and Rh negative being the blood type Masons. And the presidency is handed from one selection to another. If that's true, there were an awful lot of Masons who were trying to kill the guy. So that thwarts that theory. There's no way there's no way that the credit for that victory of Trump's goes to Trump himself and his identifying people because he loves people and he wants to communicate with people and he wants to fix it. I believe he is sincere. And but at the same time, I was aware that in the background, including this Ukraine, there's all kinds of things going on. Like, for example, we didn't see rioting last night and the burning, Antifa burning down the buildings and all that. So they haven't struck back yet. But the idea that they're not going to strike back sometime before the inauguration or just after is ludicrous. The victory was so overwhelming that there's a few really positive things that have happened that Trump has mitigated, and one is the lawfare. Gone. The lawfare is gone. They can try, but it's proven to be completely unpopular with America, with American people. So lawfare didn't work. DEI did not work. The woke mind control MK Ultra thing didn't work. The fascists, who are basically the establishment party, the party of Kamala Harris, Biden, Obama, and all that, they are basically globalists, totalitarians, authoritarians. Everything they called Trump, that's what they are. People say that I voted against fascism by voting for Harris are ignorant. They're just ignorant of history. They're ignorant. I guess they've never read a book before because they don't seem to understand geopolitics at all. Even a rudimentary, a ninth grade understanding would understand that the doublespeak is part of the political game. It always has been. You call your opponent what you're guilty of. You call your opponent, and that's how you basically get it off of you, put it on the other guy, and then convince the dumbasses out there to vote for you. Well, Trump reached out because he wanted the vote sincerely, and he said, "Look, I just really want to turn this place around." Trump is a builder. Now, I've said this For years, we've been talking about him, and there are people that they jump on me like, "What are you, a fascist?" It's like, no, you're ignorant, so you're the problem. You're ignorant. That's you. You don't have the facts. Uh, if you did, you wouldn't criticize me. You realize that this is not left versus right anymore. This is not like the cool left, anti-war, anti-Vietnam, anti-Tricky Dicky Nixon and all that, marching in the streets. The party of Martin Luther King and all that. That's gone. This is a new realignment. And what this has to do is it's the people versus the elites. And this is the other reason, the other very important piece of this analysis. Notice, if you've been noticing, now I've studied this very carefully because I have to write stories and I have to write screenplays, and it needs, propaganda doesn't work in a screen. This is not a screenwriting class this time, but just to say, propaganda never works in a screenplay. As the late great Jack Warner said, if you want, I believe he said, it's attributed to him, if you want to send a message, use Western Union. Okay, but do not put it in a screenplay. Please, Hollywood, you dumbass elites, you coddled, spoiled brats in your mansions in Bel Air, dictating to people that are working their asses off with 2 or 3 jobs just trying to put food on the table. You have no right to lecture anybody, let alone those people you're not even fit to tie their shoelaces. So shut the F up. Don't embarrass yourself any further. People don't care about you. They don't care about celebrity. They don't care about Hollywood. Hollywood's over. The old DC politics, the Democrat strongholds, Trump invaded them all. They're over. They're basically there. The new game, the new political game will have to be based on policy. And the one reason that I cast my vote for Trump, and very happily so, was because I want peace. I don't want to see all our young people get blown up in foreign wars that we have nothing to do with, like the Bush wars. Bush was a blight. Cheney was a blight. You want to call them fascists? Go ahead. They're fascists. That suits them. But Trump is hated by them. They don't accept him at all. In fact, they're gone. The old establishment Republican Party was killed last night. 100% destroyed. The rhinos were destroyed. And that's why you had Democrat Mark Cuban. Oh, and also notice that the team that Trump has put together is based on former, I would say, former Republicans and former Democrats, because the Republican Party is no more what it was. Trump destroyed it. And in its place, a new group has built up, made up of Republicans and Democrats, for the purpose of cleaning the food up, so we don't have, cleaning up the obesity epidemic, getting rid of the fluoride in the water. That alone should have been very impressive. How could anyone vote for more fluoride? Because a vote for Harris is a vote for more of the same, more fluoride. What are you, stupid? What are you, dumb? Why would you vote against yourself? She's an empty suit. She didn't have one policy, and she never earned one vote. And yet she duped a bunch of dumbass, stupid, I guess impulsive would be a better word, because I can't just use stupid. It's like calling people Nazis. Once you say the word Nazi, you destroy the argument. Let's just call them impulsive voters who've been trained, psychologically brainwashed, to always vote Democrat. And so there was a big push in the colleges to vote Democrat by the professors. Well, here's the thing. Democrat is not liberal. A true liberal, if you really want to know what a liberal is, would be more fitting in where the world is now taking America, which is, I guess, into a new golden age. That's what people are calling it. I don't know what I would call it, but I can tell you one thing. This morning, I put my top hat on. So I wouldn't wear that unless there's something to celebrate. And I thought I'd be putting it away for a long time. And yesterday was a nail biter. I didn't, the way they report and the way they lie, and the fact that they were cheating like crazy. 40,000 votes here, 50,000 votes there, cheating, cheating, cheating the whole time. Can you imagine had Trump been able to run without the cheating from the Democrats? Do you realize what kind of margins he would have right now? He would have, well, it would be the greatest sweep in the history of American politics. And already, there's the House and the Senate. I mean, it's an incredible story. The big story is how he gets shot and his ear is bleeding and there's blood and they're trying to shelter him and he's fist pumping the air saying, fight, fight, fight. I mean, that is the stuff of, like I say, movies. That's the stuff of screenplays. That's heroic shit. You show me another hero. Show me what Kamala Harris has ever done. Show me what Tampon Tim has ever done. Show me what Biden has ever done. What, the Inflation Reduction Act? Show me a bill or an act that Biden's been involved in where he didn't line his pockets in some way. Show me how the war in Ukraine is virtuous, and show me how people didn't launder money through that war. Show me how the Afghanistan withdrawal and the death of our kids caused by Biden should have been a blight on his career. Anyway, people are tired of him, tired of the inside crony politics of DC. The old establishment. The Democrats represent the old. Obama represents the 60s. He's passé now. That was his party, and he drove it into the ground. Why? Because they allowed Kamala Harris to go out on the stage, on the world stage, like an idiot and start accusing Trump of being a Nazi. He is neither Nazi nor fascist, because what he wants to do and what he has done before already was to make America a thriving business, because he's a builder. He wants to build. So that's what he does. He built he builds buildings. He built the New York skyline. I mean, what has he done? He's done a lot of things. And sure, he may be crass. He may be very American. He may be kind of, his language may not be politically correct, because he like me, I believe political correctness is simply slave mind control for slaves. Once you start going down the language of DEI and pronouns and stuff, you are a slave. You're basically a mental slave. Once they get you convinced of that, you'll do anything. And it's really sad. It's I've wondered, will we ever be able to break out of the stupor and start innovating? And like Elon Musk is on the team, pretty much a lifelong liberal, lifelong Democrat. Bobby Kennedy Jr., first thing he's going to do is get rid of the fluoride in the water. Okay, that's a lot more reason to have voted for Trump than voted for Harris, just on that one thing that Bobby Kennedy was going to do. Because fluoride is very destructive. That's why it's in the water. It's not there to prevent cavities. It's there to dumb down the population, make them compliant. So look, I'm not here to paint a rosy picture. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes. Let's talk about the sudden destruction. A lot of people are talking about peace and safety. No. Today, you got to be doubly vigilant. Now, the only reason that Trump won, despite the cheating, because even with the cheating, they couldn't do what they did during Biden's cheat. But the main reason that Trump won at all is prayer. And even the witches were complaining. They keep throwing spells on Trump over and over again, and they just bounce off like something's deflecting them. It's like, yes, Jesus trumps witchcraft. Is that something new for you? Is that some novel concept? If so, you've been completely deluded. Yes, fake preachers. Yes, the TV. Yes, I've been kicked out of all the churches because I make them uncomfortable when they try to hide their sins or whatever, because I have a prophetic gift and that puts people on the spot. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am. One day, one day that will be accepted. But today is not that day, and that's okay. Anyway, I when I saw the cheating in Pennsylvania and Michigan, Wisconsin and Georgia, I was thinking, oh no, here we go again, 2020. And so I was a little bit negative on it, but I kept an open mind because I didn't feel exactly like 2020. It seemed like, with Lara Trump heading it up, the managing the GOP, which is a new organization now. They had lawyers, they had poll watchers, they had all kinds of people stationed everywhere. And when anyone would try something anomalous, there would be a bunch of lawyers and lawsuits flying that second. That second, and law enforcement. So while it may not be a perfect outcome, it may not represent exactly what happened, it's a step in the right direction. And that is, I don't want to be a slave for my ideas. I've always been a free thinker because I've had a lot of problems as to why I have to think outside the box and I have to be ahead of most humans. That's because when your life is on the line, you have to get smart real fast. You have to anticipate that, and why would they want to get me of all people? Well, because I know where bodies are buried, because they have a policy that anybody that's going to be spilling any beans about human trafficking, pedophilia, satanic abuse, satanic ritual abuse, any of that stuff, which is society wide. It's not restricted to the to the Menendez brothers, or restricted to somebody being abused in Azusa or something. It's our system. Our system is our beast system is satanic, and sexualizing children are the sacraments, and it's done with occultic rituals in order to basically subdue the entire planet. So the entire world is involved in it. And that's why it's always covered up, because anytime there is evidence, it disappears. Pizzagate was done right in front of everybody. We have tapes of Podesta torturing a child. What do you call me? Oh, you heard it. I had a song on it. You heard it. And it's pretty horrifying. But I mean, they were always, this is the big, deep, dark secret. It begins with pedophilia, goes to human trafficking. It's also used at parties to blackmail celebrities, so that when they're told to go, promote Kamala Harris, they have to get out there and promote Kamala Harris because they can't afford to be busted. And the reason is because they have shitty characters. They're shitty people. They're the kind of people, these celebtards, who, if that's what they're covering up, then they're the kind of people that will put a knife in your back just as soon as look at you. So, so I think people have fallen out of love with celebrity. And I think I think God has been waiting for people to wake up from the idols. When you follow false gods and idols, like we have in this country, which have been famous people, celebrities, you get yourself in a lot of trouble. You wind up and that's where, I mean, the whole Taylor Swift thing should have told you. Here they are having songs that have like witchcraft, like Madonna had, have witchcraft in them. They're doing stuff at the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift has a little friend, Ice Spice, with her, and she's doing satanic hand signs. And during the bowl in favor of Kansas City, and it's so obvious. It's like, you mean you don't see that? Yes, you do see it, but you don't want to say anything. Because if you do, you realize it's worldwide, not restricted to this guy over here, that guy over there, couple of people over here, couple of people over there. No, it's our bedrock system of civilization of the entire world. And every single person knows something about it. Maybe not the whole thing, but they know there's something wrong. At the very least, all the leaders know. You know, how would they? If they don't play ball, how would they be a leader? So so I think people have the attitude that it's too big to deal with, and when people talk about it, you remember that Isaac Cappy guy, and he was blaming Seth Rogen for being a pedophile, and he had a lot of problems, but at least before he died, mysteriously he jumped off a bridge on the I-40 and got run over, committed suicide out of a clear blue sky, sort of pulled a Tony Scott. Why do you think the famous director Tony Scott jumped off the bridge in Long Beach or wherever it was? That he jumped off the bridge, just decided to get out of the car and jump off the bridge. Why do you think a lot of these things that happen all over the place are happening because of forces beyond our control? Forces beyond the control of humans, including those people that practice the dark arts, the witches, the sorcerers, the whatever. They can't control it. It controls you. You don't control it. And I can speak till I'm blue in the face. It won't matter. So I'm just gonna drop it. But the whole point is that the world system is evil. Meaning, and then when I say evil, I mean satanic is evil. Satanic worships death, worships pedophilia. You know what happens to people when they're sexualized too early? They develop a guilt and shame complex, and they get hardwired to want to be abused in their adult life, and they can never have a relationship, and sometimes they kill themselves. They become suicidal. You like that? Because if you participate in any of this stuff at all, you're promoting, the death of other people. You may not know it. And then, of course, abortion is what it is. It's a joke to even talk about it. And then, well, Trump will ban abortions. And I mean, abortions are the most fun thing. There are people out there that have 25 pregnant. Every time they get pregnant, they can't wait to abort the baby because they get power out of it. Because it's a part of a sacrament of, you do the sacraments of Satan, you get temporary power. But what happens later? The plug is pulled and you wind up with nothing. And if you want the phone to ever ring again, you've got to go out and bust a move. What have you done for me lately? You haven't killed anybody. You haven't done. That's why I laugh when I see these, all the like sort of heavy metal people all, tatted up and appears to looking like really tough, like criminals that just got out of jail. And then you ask them, well, how many people did you kill? How many people did you kill, Mr. Heavy Metal? Okay, Mr. Heavy Metal fan, how many people did you kill? Okay, you look like a really evil, bloodthirsty Satanist. How many people did you kill? And the answer is none. That doesn't mean they're not going to in the future. It just means they're faking it to be part of a club. They're not really real. If you're really real, you want to join a gang, they tell you to go kill somebody, and then you can that's your initiation into the gang. I mean, there's got to be something like that. How many of those have you been through? And the answer for most of these people is none. And if they did get to that point, many of them would hit the wall and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, unless you like killing people. Do you like killing people? So, while there may be a victory of Trump and a very heroic sweep that an actual hero that is yelled at as being a fool, yelled at as being a misogynist, yelled at as being a fascist, yelled at as being Hitler. Whenever you bring out the word Hitler, you've lost your argument. That's what's so laughable about the left. And I don't know what he's going to do, but I know that we are in grave danger. And that we are in more danger now than we were before the election. Okay? And it's anything from World War III terrorist attacks. We've been hearing about the missile test out of Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, in Lompoc, that basically are around that area. They're doing surface-to-air missiles. And who flies around in a plane? Oh, and these missiles are nuclear tipped. So they're firing nuclear missiles in preparation for, a missile invasion from Russia, from submarines or from wherever, from China, Russia, the enemy. And, now that Trump has threatened the world order as he has, these guys are just, they're gonna do everything they can to get back. And now the American people who voted the way they voted are now being yelled at by certain celebrities, certain talk show hosts are actually yelling from their pulpit, from their TV show on CNN that nobody watches. They're yelling at half the population, blaming them, for this travesty of racism. The only racists I know are on the left. I don't know really. Yeah, he's like that. Well, anyway. So a word of caution, like I said in my earlier podcast, now is the time to be vigilant. Now is the time to remain prayed up. Prayer is what actually caused this whole thing, this whole success to happen, because prayer trumps witchcraft, period. And there are a lot of unity in prayer. In fact, there was more unity in prayer from foreigners than I have ever seen. I mean, it's like the whole world wanted to change and felt that if the United States could change and have freedom and have the people empowered. Now, maybe they won't be. Maybe there'll be some bad guys that'll steal the money. I mean, we've been ripped off since we were born. So, I know that if you didn't like the last 4 years, and we all hated it, then you would love to vote for Kamala Harris because you get another 4 years of shit. And why would you do that? You think you're voting against Hitler? Or are you voting for 4 more years of the status quo, where you'll be so poor you can't even, you'll eat grass? That's where that heads. Where we are going is where the American people that were the original, now called useless eaters, have to give up their tax dollars to the illegal immigrants who are living off the fat of the land for free, or living like they're all on trust funds, and they're getting thousands a month, each one, while we have veterans dying from starvation in the street. Now, if you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for those veterans to die in the street. You voted to empower the immigrants. Oh, now stop that. Now stop that. What is it? You come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay. Okay. Oh, look at this sunrise. We're having a conversation on cue. Isn't that cute? But no, I mean, it's there's a lot more people. I guess I've fallen in love with the guy that goes to work. I mean, not no real love. I mean, but love with people that they go to work, they work hard, they build things. Elon Musk said something very interesting. He goes, was it Trump or Musk? He said, we're a nation of builders. We are. We build things. And anyone can do it. And that's the focus, is on labor, building, skills, going to the stars, rocket ships, Mars, whatever. And you know, the odds on seeing what I just saw of a comeback like this, where the guy is the 45th president, then he gets basically ousted, and then followers are, duped into this Capitol insurrection, which was simply a gathering of people that were being told by the feds to go inside the building, and they're rotting in jail. And then Trump's reputation is ruined. He has 34 felonies or whatever. And for him to rise out of those ashes to become president again, now they're going to try to throw him in jail. You understand that's coming up. But I believe that a lot of the lawfare is going to fall on deaf ears because the people aren't with it. The people don't want it. And they don't want to see Trump prosecuted. They don't want to see, if anything, they like to see some of these bad actors prosecuted, the ones that are bringing cases using the law as lawfare. And so I'm encouraged, but I'm also reminded that every day has to be vigilant because, well, it's a lot more dangerous, isn't it, to go on a trip somewhere, to fly in an airplane. I mean, you realize that. He's pretty rambunctious. Anyway, so let's conclude. So prophetically speaking, the real work begins now. And that work is basically the opposite of racism, the opposite of classism, the opposite of crony capitalism, the opposite of false science. It has more to do with cleaning stuff up at this point. And at the same time, there are people that don't want to see it changed. And they will do everything in their power, including violence, to make sure that doesn't happen, to make sure Trump fails. So, yes, a victory in one sense, but, a call to vigilance. And it just, like I said, this is a time to get right with God, make sure your affairs are in order. We could die any day. There's no guarantee here. There's no real sustenance. The political parties have fallen apart around the world, including in France, Italy, the EU in general. The UK is in the process of falling apart, and elsewhere. Because why is that? Because the system as it is reflects us, and people don't want, double deception. That means they deceive you into thinking, somebody that's trying to help you is Hitler. Well, that's a double deception. They're acting more like Hitler. They're talking about internment camps for people that can't see it. Even today, I hear people like Joy Reid on the air calling white women all racist because they didn't come to the rescue of Kamala. I'm like, we don't do race-based politics. We don't do that. We don't do identity politics. We don't vote for people on the basis of their skin. We don't hire people on the basis of their skin. We don't do anything. It's really just, if you have a friend, I don't know. It's useless talking about this stuff because people they're stuck in their ways, and they're just going to be racist. A real racist is somebody that would say, okay, everyone is allowed here except white people. Well, if you're racist against white people, you're racist against white people. Well, I guess I don't get another word. Okay, thank you.